Hi guys, welcome back to our video series all about energy, where we are talking about all things spiritual, metaphysical, and cosmic. I am Peyton Craning, your host for tonight's video, and we're so glad that you're tuning in. And if you're new to our videos, let me give you a little background about what we're doing and what we're hoping to accomplish here. We are going to be talking about all the hottest topics in spirituality and energy work. And we're going to be covering everything from astrology to ascension to channeling and psychic development and so much more. So we hope that you'll stick around and watch our entire video series. And the reason that we're doing this is to help you on your spiritual path, to share some of the things that we have all learned along the way to make your journey a little bit smoother and a little easier. So welcome if you're new. And we also want to invite you guys to connect with us, to share with us any suggestions you have for topics that we could address, questions that you're running into on your spiritual path that you would like advice and insights on. We want to make these videos as helpful to you and as useful to you as possible. So feel free to drop your suggestions in the comment box or to reach out to us on social media, because we would love to know what you're thinking about so that we can address it in future videos. And we'll be leaving our contact information at the bottom of the screen all throughout this video. So reach out to us, connect with us at any time. We can't wait to meet you. So tonight we are going to be talking about transmuting energy. And this is such a huge and exciting topic. I can't wait to get into it. But before I do that, I want to introduce the other amazing members of our team. Yaila, would you like to introduce yourself?
I would love to. Thanks, Peyton. Hello, everybody. My name is Yaila, Yaila Weddle, and I am an intuitive teacher, intuitive healer, as well as theta healing practitioner. And what that basically means is I help people open up their clear senses, especially if you are beginning on your journey. And I also work with spiritual teachers and leaders and help them kind of step into their power. And I also do one-on-one readings and healings for anybody just really working through any of their specific needs individually. So I always like to combine all my different resources for that. So I'm really happy to be here with you all.
That's great. Welcome, Yaila. And Corey, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Corey Davidson, and I'm an intuitive clairvoyant teacher and healer and reader, and I'm also a Reiki practitioner and an alchemical hypnotherapist. And I love to, I too, teach a lot of beginners who are starting on their journey and giving them tools. I'm also a teacher at Intuitive Insights. And we do those on Zoom now. And I love to help people fall in love with themselves, to find out who they are, healing traumas. And because this is all about energy, I love to work with all different types of energy, whatever is going to help at that moment. So thank you.
Wonderful. And I'm Peyton. I am an intuitive and a channel and an energy teacher. And I work primarily with people who have been on their spiritual path for a while, who already kind of know the basics and the foundations and already have a strong practice in place, who want to do the really deep healing and clearing work and really become experts at managing and controlling their energy and their vibration. And this work is my absolute passion, and I love any chance to talk about it and share these tools with everyone out there. So we're so glad that you guys are tuning in tonight. So we have a big topic to talk about tonight. We're covering transmuting energy, and this really is the heart and soul of energy work. So if you don't know what that means, we will fill you in with all the details. So Yaila, I'd like to start with you. Would you like to kind of kick us off and tell us a little bit about what this topic even means for people who don't know what we're talking about, and then how you incorporate these tools in your practice?
Yeah, thank you, Peyton. It's a really big topic. This could probably be a several part series if we really wanted to go super in depth with it. But for starters, just to kind of open your awareness to what is transmuting energy, how I would describe it would be, when you're dealing with anything in your life that you realize isn't working. For example, patterns in relationships that you notice, patterns in jobs you keep attracting, money situations, any type of pattern that you notice or situation that keeps popping up and you want to change it. So, transmuting energy, I look at it as one, where is that energy coming from? Is it old programming from how we are raised, whether it's people, that we grew up with, society? There's a lot of different filters that we kind of learn about the world through. Is it past lives that's still kind of coming into this current lifetime? Is it other people's stuff in our space? I mean, it can come from so many different places. So when I think of transmuting energy, first it's to understand, one, where is that energy coming from? Two, is it yours or is it other energy? And then three, what would you like to change it to? And once I kind of get clear on what those things are, there's so many different tools that you can use to transmute energy. When I say tools, sometimes it's guided visualization, sometimes it's breath work, sometimes it's getting healing from healers like the ladies here and myself, or other people that do similar type of work. Sometimes it's Reiki or energy healing, clearing. Maybe it's clearing your chakras. There's an abundance of ways to transmute energy, but you're basically looking at where things are in your space and moving that energy out. You're basically de-energizing what's been programmed in your space. And then you get to reprogram or re-download what you want. I do that in my theta healing. You work with those deeper beliefs. I know Peyton does her form of it. Corey does her form of it that I'll get to share and describe about. But you're really looking at what is the energy, what's not working, and how do you want to change it through various different modalities. That's probably the easiest way I would describe transmuting energy for anybody first wanting to learn about the topic.
Well, that is a great description, Yaila. That one's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah.
So Corey, what does transmuting energy mean to you and how do you use it in your practice?
Yaila, that was wonderful. There you go. Here's our episode right here.
It's a wrap.
Wrap. You have such an elegant way of putting it. And transmuting energy to me, I absolutely agree with everything that you said, Yaila. When I first started, when I was even aware of energy work, all I knew for me was that things weren't working. I had left a relationship, and I had a lot of PTSD, and I had done a lot of therapy. I had done a lot of writing. Um, I'm in a 12-step program, so I was doing a lot of that work. And, I kept having the same relationship over and over again. But it was a pattern, my whole life. And so when the first time that I even found out about transmuting energy was this woman walked into my life and she said, just come and talk to me. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I've talked about all this stuff forever. And I had said to her, I don't know what we're going to do because, I've tried a lot of things. But she did energy work. And I do use this as well in my practice. And what she explained to me was that we can do all the therapy that we want. We can do the writing, we can do all those outward physical things. But the energy lives in our body. Okay. So we can have a trauma, we can go to therapy, we can talk about it, we can do exercise, diet, all those things, but it's the energy that lives inside of us that needs to be transmuted. And I thought that that was absolutely fascinating. So we did some energy work, and all those years of therapy, all those years of, 12-step work, though they helped so much. But it was transmuting the energy by actually breaking up the energy that was in my body, that the PTSD energy. So the way that I look at transmuting energy, and I tell you the story so that you can get a better feel of what transmuting energy is. It's when we have something that's absolutely stuck in our physical body that affects our outer world. And the single most, my favorite reason for energy work is that it can be transmuted. For example, using the tools like Yaila was talking about. So when you're in a situation, let's just say, for example, you're in an uncomfortable situation, using the tools to change the frequency, because energy is a frequency, of a room, or being able to put, energy protection around you, is a transmutation of energy. And so that's what, that's what I love to teach, is to help people, give them tools. So transmuting energy could be changing the frequency of the room. And I like to do that with, as a Reiki practitioner, I love doing Reiki. And I'm able to transmute energy in my client's body, energy field, to help them feel better. But also the tools, also the tools. The most that I like to transmute energy, other than working with my clients and teaching it, is by being able to transmute energy, I feel safe in the world. Which means if I'm in any situation, any place, even in my own body when I'm feeling uncomfortable, transmuting energy through, like Yaila was talking about, whether it's visualization, meditation, even, today, before we started recording, the energy today was funky for me. It was kind of waving in and out, and I needed to transmute my energy. So I turned on some music. And it can be as simple as turning on some music to change the frequency. So there's so many ways to transmute energy. But the wonderful gift about getting tools and learning about transmuting energy is that you can be comfortable in your own body, and no matter where you go in this world. And that's what a big, huge deal was for me, was to be able to know that what energy is, and that it can be transmuted into whatever it is that you need, or if you're in a space that's best for everyone. That if there's a difficult situation. So, but transmuting energy is a huge topic. It is a huge topic. And everybody has their way of transmuting energy. There is no one right or wrong way to transmute it. And that's what's wonderful and exciting about teaching it, because we all learn from one another and get ideas. So that's what I have on transmuting energy. Yeah.
Well, that is beautifully said, Corey. It's, you two are a hard act to follow tonight, because I don't know what I can really add to transmuting energy that you guys haven't hit on already. This really, I think, is the way I look at it. It's a fancy word to say changing energy, changing the form of energy. Sometimes we can call this integration. People have heard that word. And I know Corey likes to talk about, in our last video, alchemy is another form of transmuting energy. So it goes by many names, but it really comes down to, this is the heart of what we do in energy work, because energy work at its core is about raising vibration. That's the goal of everything that we do. And transmuting energy is how we do that. And so it's kind of a term that sums up everything that we do in energy work. And the way that I use transmuting energy and teach it to my clients is, I kind of look at it as being a two-step process. The first step being to identify what needs to shift. Like Yaila said, identifying those things in your life that aren't going right, because that's a sign that your energy is not in alignment. So the first step that I work on with my clients is identifying your energetic crud, identifying those things that aren't going well, because that's just a neon sign of where you have transmutation work to do. And that really, identifying those things that aren't going well, or those areas of our life that give us the most grief, is kind of the hardest part of the process. And a lot of times we call this the shadow work, which is being willing to look at those parts of ourselves that we don't like so much, or that we're not so happy with, and be willing to do honest work on those areas. And if you can do that part, that's the hard part, is to figure out where the work needs to be done. And our ego mind will kick up so much resistance to keep us from looking at those things. It'll make us blame other people, or put us in victim mode, or hide it from us, or we tend to push these things down. But those are the areas that need to be transmuted. So if you can do that first part of the process, which is, being willing to look at your own shadow, then the actual transmuting of the energy is actually really easy. Because like Yaila and Corey mentioned, there are simple tools that you can use to change the form of that energy. And it can be anything from as simple as grounding to much more complex processes that just help you move stale, stagnant, low vibration energy out of your energy field. Because like the ladies were saying, it stays stuck in your field until you move it out or change it. And that's what so many of us don't realize. We think we move past a situation, but until we shift the energy is actually still there, messing up our life. So that's why we transmute energy. And the tools to actually change the energy are actually pretty simple. I usually teach my clients a way of moving the energy physically through their body in a way that it will actually dissolve what we call the energetic charge. And that's that negative feeling you get whenever you think about those areas that you don't want to look at. Whenever you feel that negativity, that's, where you're seeing your resistance. And so it's actually easy to move that energy out with simple tools, change its form. And once you release the energetic charge, that negative feeling that you get, you have finally cleared the energy. But until you clear it, it's still there, even if you don't see it. So that's why transmuting energy is so important, and why there are so many ways to do it. But we really could talk about this for probably days and not do this topic justice. So that's kind of how I approach energy transmuting in my practice and with my clients. But there's countless ways to do it. It's just a matter of having one that works for you. So, well, Yaila, do you have any final thoughts? Anything else you'd like to share on this topic?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, it's kind of touching on what you were just saying. It's the tools themselves to transmute the energy are a lot more simple than I think people think it's going to be, especially when you finally give yourself the space to confront that shadow side, those tough places to look, realizing, your role in situations, or maybe your ways of being that over and over that didn't really serve you, and you thought it worked for a while, but it wasn't. That is the hardest part. But the easier part is, once you realize that the transmuting the energy itself, the actual act of transmuting energy, is pretty simple and pretty straightforward, and it's fairly immediate. I'm sure you all can share too. It's,
Mhm.
you know, many times you can feel an instant change, whether it's just
Mhm.
more calm, more peace, and then days, weeks, and even months later, you start to see things just get better and better and better. You catch yourself sooner. You kind of nip it in the bud, you know, right away versus letting it go on for a long time. So it happens pretty fast once you do transmute it. And I think of things like quantum physics or quantum mechanics. You know, a lot of people have heard those terminologies where it's just we're in a pure potential reality. There's all these different potentials, and it's where we are choosing to direct our focus
Mm.
is what's going to be created in our reality. And so when you realize where you sending energy to, whether you're conscious or, you know, through your conscious or your subconscious or your super subconscious, which our subconscious and super subconscious kind of run the show. When you tap into that, you're like, oh, that's where I'm sending the energy. You can shift it. Like, oh, now that you have the awareness and you're shining a light to it, now you can change it. And it's very, very fast.
Excellent point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What about you, Corey? Any last thoughts or final words?
You know, yeah, of course, because this topic, we can talk forever about it. But I love what all you ladies say, and you're all my superheroes, and that's why we're all here together. But you're just my heroes. And one of the things that um, about transmuting energy is that oftentimes I have clients that come to me and start working on their shadow side or, you know, transmuting the energy. And they think that it's a one and done. And it might be a one and done for now or for that moment. But as we start doing this work, it it helps the energy that needs to be transmuted to come back up, you know, and into our conscious awareness. And so it's like the layers of the onion. You know, you pick something that, you know, that's maybe a problem, past life, current life, reoccurring problem, and transmute that energy that's stuck in your body. And oftentimes my clients think, oh, that's great. And come back and go, oh, but I thought I was done with that. And it would be wonderful. And yes, there are some that do end that way, but there are layers to our energetic bodies, you know. And so um, you know, don't feel defeated if you start doing you know, transmuting this energy and the same topic comes up again. You know, it doesn't mean that it's not working. It actually means it's working, and that the next layer is coming up to transmute again. Another way of looking at transmuting energy is when I first started, a woman that I started with, she called it, you know, transmuting the energy so that you could get neutral with it, so that it doesn't affect you. And I thought, wow, I mean, my whole life, you know, I was wishing to not be affected by certain things, whether it was from myself or other people. And so that's another phrase, you know, working on the shadow work till you get neutral with it, so it doesn't affect you as much. But like Yaila said, you know, and Peyton, you know, as we work on this, you know, life does get better and better, and uh, you take charge of your life, and that is the most empowering thing we can do for ourselves, is to really own our lives and own our own beings and our own space wherever we go, so that we can live a more fulfilled life. And transmuting energy is what it's all about. Yeah.
Beautifully put. Beautiful. I love the way you guys have summed this up. I honestly, I can't think of anything you haven't covered, which is hard to say with a topic this big. um, and so I think, Corey, you made such a good point with neutrality, because that really, I think, is the goal of transmuting energy, is to be able to take those things that are most painful in your life, that have kind of messed things up for so long that you haven't been able to shake, and come to a point where you're absolutely neutral about it. You're okay with it being there, and it doesn't trigger you or put you into fear or anxiety or self-judgment, because you've worked the energy enough that you can look at it and be like, yeah, that's a thing I do. It's part of me, and I accept that. And I love myself anyway. I'm just a human having a 3D experience. But when you can look at it objectively, you have neutralized the energy. That's the whole point. That's how you know you've transmuted the energy. And that's not to say that there aren't issues that we don't work on our entire life as we work through that onion that Corey talked about. But each time it gets easier because you clear the big stinky layers of the onion first. And then every time it comes back up, it's a little softer. And you're like, oh, wow, this isn't bringing me to my knees the way it used to. I see it. I'm like, oh man, got to deal with this again. But you have the tools to do it. And you just go back to your tools, you run the energy again, and you move through it faster. And you feel better the next time it comes up. So you do have to sometimes go over your homework, but each time you do it, it gets lesser and lesser until you look at something that's plagued you your entire life and you just don't have a reaction to it anymore. And then you know you've done your work. You've neutralized the energy. And that's what we're all after in this work.
Yeah.
Neutralize those things that make us feel bad. So you guys have just summed this up so beautifully.
Well, and also too is, when you transmute that energy and it comes up again, you're able to recognize it, as opposed to spending so much time in the beginning going, what is this? How do I feel? Why does this affect me? That's the gift of continuing to do and peeling that onion, because when it comes up again, you go, oh, I know what this is. I've already cleared a lot of this. And that too is why it gets easier and easier, because you're able to recognize it much quicker as well. So just had to put that in. Yeah.
That's perfect, because I think you talked about this in the last video, Corey, about how important it is to bring these things into the light of your consciousness. Because once you're aware of it, you can work with it. And so I think that's a great point.
Yep. Yeah. And it's funny because what the last little thing I'll add is, and you both kind of touched on it, but just kind of say in a slightly different way, is things that used to take me down or like things I'd be involved in for years at a time, like just unhealthy situations for years at a time, where looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wasted so much time doing that. You catch it faster, and things that used to take years now take days, sometimes hours to move through and clear. And there are even things now where I laugh. I'm like, I can have amusement about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I still have that going on. And it's funny to me, where before I would be laid out crying for days on end. So, you can really shift this and just really grow into the life that you're really wanting to have. And you just have more of your own, you're operating on more of a conscious and in seniority way of your space when you're able to transmute energy.
Yeah.
Not today, Satan.
Not today, Satan. Not today.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Not today. Step over there.
You see it coming.
Talk to the energy. Not today, Satan.
I love it. Oh, well, I think that we have kind of given people a good, at least first step into transmuting energy. We may have to circle back to this one in the future and dig a little deeper, because I think it's such an important topic. But just to wrap up tonight, why don't we share our contact information and where people can connect with us outside of this video. Yaila, where can people connect with you offline?
The two best places to connect with me, one, everybody is on, I shouldn't say everybody, but most people are on social media. I'm on Instagram, just at Yaila, Y-A-I-L-A. You can find me there. I do have a direct link to my website, some meditations, any courses I'm teaching or hosting or partnering with, or any upcoming events that I'm doing, or directly at my website at yailaweddle.com. YAILAWEDDLE.com. One last little place is the school that Corey and I teach at, myintuition.net is the website for intuitive insights. So those are the 3 best places to reach me.
Great. And how about you, Corey?
Other than telepathically, right?
Of course, that goes without saying.
In our world, right? And you too can do it. Yeah, I can be reached on Instagram, and that is at Claire Core Energy. That's CLAIRCORE Energy. That's Instagram, and I can be also reached on my website, which is still being worked on a little bit, but the basics are up, and that is Claire Core, CLAIR, Core, CORE, .com. And then at Intuitive Insights, where Yaila and I both teach, and that's myintuition.net. Feel free to reach out. We'd love to help. And you, Peyton?
And me. You can find me on my website, which is Peyton Energetics, ENERGETICS.com, where you can find all my classes and my courses. But mainly you can find me on social media, especially Instagram, where you can find me at Peyton Energetics. And I have tons of videos on there that I post every week with more great topics and tools on how to do energy work, how to incorporate this into your life. So I'd love to connect with you. So thank you guys so much for watching tonight. And we hope this video has been helpful to you and that you will check out our future and past videos as well. Don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to our channel. And we'll see you next time. Have a good night.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you.